Hey, 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 welcome to yet another episode of Talk Blurdy to Me. You are talking to Mari and Lana. Hello, Lana.
Hello, Mari. How are you?
I am gravy. I'm being side eyed by my dog right now because he doesn't know why I'm being so loud. But other than that, I'm good.
Dog is always side-eyeing people. It's all
It is
good.
true. It's his life. We've had a lot of black TV to watch recently, so I've been trying to keep up with all of that. You know, your Bel Air, your Abbott Elementary. Luckily, not luckily, but like for having time back on my plate, Insecure has ended. But we also had Grandcrew that just recently wrapped, and that's like something that I thought was just going to be like, man, I'll watch in the background, and then I really fell in love with. So I'm just glad that we're seeing so much black TV recently.
Yeah, no, I love Grandcrew. It definitely was a heavy hitter. Yes, no, I did not expect Grandcrew to be as funny and as hilarious and also sometimes downright relatable as it
Yeah,
was. But I definitely would want a Grandcrew. I think we have a Grandcrew, but I
yeah. I was
definitely
like,
want
we're
a
getting
Grandcrew.
one. Yeah, yeah.
I love it. I love the opening that's like Grandcrew, Grandcrew, Grandcrew.
Grapefruit. Yes. I love the opening. I loved hearing too that like the dude who the showrunner, the dude who
Hmm.
wrote it, also did the rap for it. Like that was just kind of a
Yeah.
cute thing. Yeah.
Yep. This is the vibe. This is the crew.
Yes. Grand Crew. Grand Crew. And as someone who loves wine, I like you said, I think we kind of have our Grand Crew, but it's just such a cute ideal to know that you have people and to see like black folks who aren't involved in like everybody loves a good drama, yeah, but it's fun to see a comedy that isn't wrapped around like drama or like the hardships that black people are going through. It's just like here are
Hmm.
some black friends living in LA, who go get wine and just like deal with a daily life kind of thing, and
Yeah.
it's such a refreshing thing to see.
Yeah. I love the fact, like you said, that they love wine because when I do drink, I don't drink, but when I did drink, uh, I was a wine person. I love
Hmm.
like all types of wine. I did sommelier training, and love that. I also love how silly the characters are,
Yeah.
and they're all unique, and it's just good to see representation on TV and good to see us,
Hmm.
like, because they're not just like, oh, we're like regular, um, I would say regular black people. There are no regular black folk, but
Right.
like the regular of how people tell stories, which I heard a quote today to talk about this about that everybody who works on that show understands, and we don't like they don't have to explain how that show is going to go. Basically,
Yes.
the showrunner doesn't have to be like, and this is the narrative we need to give, and it's told through um a white lens, so then it
Right.
comes out like not exact. I think it's told, you can tell it's written by black people. If there are black people that write on that show, that produce that show, that work on that set,
Yes.
and that is something that I think makes that show so unique and makes it come together.
Yeah, I think that's such an important thing. Like you see a lot of TV shows where you'll have like kind of like, no offense, but like the token black person where it's like, oh, you have your like, like I don't know, Married with Children or something where you'll have like this white family and the one black character, and you can tell that that black character is written from like a white lens, right? And so to see like Grand Crew where you can tell that like everyone there, like the majority of the people who are probably like behind the scenes are black. The people in front of the camera are black. Like they feel comfortable, like even ad libbing off of each other. A lot of the jokes that they make are like things that they like understand from having like similar experiences, or just like understanding from a black perspective. And so it is very relieving to see like just a cast both in front and behind the scenes that
Mhm.
is unapologetically black. Like okay, you understand, there's a base level of understanding here. You don't have to explain, like you said, what the direction is, or like what you're trying to portray, or what this joke even means, or like what these certain words might mean. Yeah.
So what is that? Do you want
Yeah.
me to dab on it?
Yes.
I
What
just
exactly is bussin'?
You just maybe it reminded me of that RDC World One skit where they're like pitching black people's pitching something to the network, and they're like, "But how are they gonna play basketball together?" Like every
Yes.
time he's like, "It's
How
about
are
black people that
they?
time travel as a basketball team."
You're right. How are they going to play basketball if they're all separated? Yeah.
So you don't see that there, and
Yes.
that's why I think this is like super important to see in such a good show. But other than that, it's also super hilarious. I love
Yeah.
the uniqueness, like I said, of the characters, that they're all
Hmm.
so different and silly, and like they're not like the stereotypical, like even there's one character like Sherm who you think of
I
like, oh,
adore Sherm.
stereotypical,
Yeah.
like, like tough black dude, but Sherm is like really like so many layers to him, just like
Yes.
there's so many layers to all the other characters too.
Yeah, I kind of love that Sherm is like secretly the smartest character. Like he's the one
Yeah.
who like dropped out of college, but he's also the one who like knows the most about wine, knows the most about starting businesses, knows
Hmm.
the most about like every random
Yeah,
thing.
chess.
Yeah,
Incredible.
chess.
He's a
Yeah, he was
chess
like the
master.
chess master. Yeah, like I love that Sherm is like he plays himself up as a goofball, but he's secretly like the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is so good because it's not like, oh, this is just the dumb black friend or something. It's like, no, this is somebody who's
you're
actually
right.
very smart. But I also love, and I'm sure we'll touch on it, that
Hmm.
Grand Crew covers some very real issues, but they
Yes,
make them funny, but not so much that it's like a
it
joke.
takes away from the
Yeah.
issues. Yeah,
That it's
but
like, oh, we're gonna talk about racism, ha ha ha, and
right.
that's why. And then the majority of the audience that's not black is like, oh, racism solved all in this episode. And it's like, no, it wasn't. It's continuing.
Right. It's a
This happened to
continuous
me last
thing.
week.
Yeah. I also do love, like you mentioned, racism, but I kind of like that it's not the only focus of Grand Crew. Like
Hmm.
we go through so much outside of racism just existing. That I love that it's not like the focus of every episode is like here is how someone was racist to us today. But I do like that they touch on like
Hmm.
familial issues that we might have, or like issues with crying, like with Sharon when he wouldn't cry, and all these
Yeah.
different issues that, yeah, I'm sure we'll continue to touch on. But I do appreciate that we dove a little deeper than like people are racist, because I feel like we see so many of those like
Mm.
TV shows and movies where racism is at the forefront, and it's like we like don't get me wrong, racism is very much still a thing, but there's such a plethora of other issues that we
Yeah.
have, and it's important to acknowledge that Black
Hmm.
people just deal with things because we're people,
Yeah.
outside of racism, and I think the show does a good job of doing that.
Yeah. It's definitely, one of the sayings about black people: laugh to keep from crying.
Yes, yeah.
That's the show. Laugh to keep from crying all the issues we face.
Yes, yeah, no, they definitely, yeah, lots of laughing to keep from crying, but in a good way. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
um I also love like that this is more of a focus on like the Black men, like they have Nicole, of course, but the majority of the cast are Black men, and I think we see a lot of TV shows where Black men are kind of painted as either the villains, or like you said, like the dumb characters or the
Hmm.
angry characters. So I do love that in this show they're painting as just like, again, humans that go through a variety of different emotions, and you have the people who are in love, and the people who are trying to get their business life together, and the people who are finding themselves. And
Yeah.
it's so rare to see Black men depicted in a place of vulnerability the way they are in Grand Crew. So I really appreciate seeing that, and like
Hmm.
seeing these characters kind of work through their vulnerable sides.
Yeah, I do love that, and I love how multifaceted and multi-layered the characters are, because
Yeah.
it's like, and each one of them each have their like own vulnerabilities to work through, but I do love that like there's so many different things
Yeah.
into one, and it's not like they all deal with like the same, collective issue. That they do all face like similar issues, but they all have their own type of issue that they have to kind of go through, like you said, with the vulnerability. And that makes it an interesting watch, and it doesn't become too much, because sometimes when there's too many characters, you
Hmm.
don't know where to focus, and then you like one character less than a, like, I'm just being honest, that's how I am sometimes when there's too many characters on the show. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I don't like these three people, and these other two, their stories are kind of lost on me. um
Right.
but I feel like I didn't feel that way about any of the Grand Crew people. That I loved hearing, watching all their stories, and they were
Hmm.
all so unique that it was interesting that even when they were all together, not nobody else got like drowned out. Like it was like equal, um equal, not representation. I'm not sure of the word I'm trying to think of, but it was just like all of them could be in the same scene and
Yeah.
not one character was left out. Like they were all there.
Yeah.
I knew they were all there.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying. Like it feels like every character gets equal spotlight. I feel like there's
Hmm.
no character that I could say was like, oh, Sherm is clearly the main character or anything like that. Like it's very much
Yeah.
like all the characters get equal spotlight. All of their stories are all
Uh-huh.
kind of like depicted very well. Like I mean, Noah and Sherm are like tossed for my favorites because I just like love Sherm's intelligence, but I also love Noah's like process of finding himself and stuff. So like it
Loves love.
very much, yes, he just loves love. So it's very much though like you get to see all of these characters dynamically and they all kind of share the spotlight, which I feel like it's very hard for a show to do without someone coming up as like,
Hmm.
okay, but this is the clearly the main character, so I think they did a really good job of splitting the spotlight between these like five
Yeah.
characters. Yeah.
And making it interesting
Yeah.
because, like in anime, sometimes there's that one character they try to split to say, have their filler
Oh yeah, you're
story, and
just
you
like, I
like,
don't care about
I
this
don't
person.
care about this.
Mhm.
Sakura. No,
I
I'm just
hate
kidding.
I hate Sakura. Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that to
No.
Sakura. I know a lot of people don't like her, but there is no Sakura in this show. No, I'm just kidding. There's
There's no useless character, guys.
there's no
Sakura wasn't
character.
useless, but we won't
No.
get into that. But yeah.
There was no character that you're like, okay, I don't want to hear about their adventure. Well, I'm ready.
Right.
I want to hear more about Nicole's venture or Noah's venture. It was like every time a character had an adventure, I'm like, wow, they're having a really interesting day too.
Yeah. Like, yeah, every character I was like, I wonder how I would deal with that. Or like, that was interesting. Or like whatever it might have been. So yeah.
Strange. No, I'm just
But
kidding.
yeah, y'all going through it.
Yeah.
Okay, so on that note, what who let's talk about favorite characters though. Like I of course we just mentioned that all of them are wonderful characters, but if you had to like place your absolute fave, who would it
Uh,
be and why?
uh, I don't know. I do like Noah and Sherm, but then I also really like Anthony. I like
I do
Nicole.
like Anthony,
I
yeah.
like Nicole when she's like, whoopsies. He's like, you can't just do that and then just say whoopsie, like
Right,
say
and say
something in
whoopsies
context.
afterwards. Yeah.
So I really like all the characters, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And then I like what's the other guy's name? Wyatt.
Wyatt. I
Like
love
Wyatt,
Wyatt and his wife's
his
like
wife.
dynamic.
They're
Yeah.
competing
Yeah.
all the time. Love that. So it's like I just I put them all very up, but like I said, I really
Yeah.
do like Nicole.
Hmm.
So I would probably say Nicole and Noah,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are
The
my favorites. And then I really like Sherm though,
yeah.
because like you said, I liked the episode where he didn't want to cry and then he tricked all of them.
Oh
But then I
yeah.
really like Anthony because I can relate to all of them. So I
Yes,
can
I feel like
relate
there's
to
facets of them that I
yeah,
can see myself in. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
So like I can relate to Nicole because of course being like, a woman of color in the group. But this is what I also love about Nicole is
Hmm.
that there's never brought up that about how much of a woman she is or about her size or about, anything
Yes, I
about
love
her
that. Yeah,
ever
even
changing
her sexuality,
hairstyles.
like she's
Yeah.
clearly the more like sexually liberated, I guess I'll say,
Hmm.
character in the group. But it's never a problem. It's never something where they're like, oh, Nicole's always out there, in the streets or something. Like it's never something that's seen in like
Hmm.
a negative matter. Yeah.
It's just like it's it's just like how we see our friends and our people. Like we don't
Hmm.
look at our friends as stereotypes. So I feel like I love that Grand Crew also isn't like, oh, this person's gonna be this person and this person's
Yeah.
gonna be that person. So I really like Nicole because I feel like I'm similar, not in the sexual sense, but I'm similar to her as I'm that person that's always taking care of people,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
But then I also like Noah because I do like rom-coms. I'm not as like romantic or mushy as he is, and I feel like I understand that whole finding himself thing.
Hmm.
But then I also like Wyatt because I am that friend that's like, you need to go to therapy. You should do it. This is cool. I am like the friend of the group. And then
Right.
I would say like Anthony, I am definitely a workaholic.
Yeah.
I'm working on that. And then I would say I'm kind of like Sherm because I feel like there's a lot of things that I find myself sometimes to be talented in,
Hmm.
but people don't know, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh yeah, actually I know a lot about this. So I like that, and I also dig Sherm's shoe collection. I'm not
Yes, I'm not a
I'm not up to
sneakerhead,
date.
but I
I
appreciate.
I'm a secret sneakerhead. The only reason I'm
Okay,
not a full blown one is because I don't have the money to be. But
yeah,
back in the high school days, yes, when my parents were buying all the stuff. But
right.
now, real life
Now you got to
Lana,
buy it for yourself.
I gotta
Yeah.
buy it. But I do got some exclusive Jordans, some
Okay.
exclusive
Okay.
ones that I don't like to wear anywhere.
Yeah, yeah. I know you told me like the you have some shoes that you wouldn't wear anywhere, and in my head, I'm
Nah,
like, why do you
the
have them?
reflective ones.
Yeah.
I do wear them, but I have to be careful where I wear them because if somebody
Right.
steps on them, it's
It's
on
game
site.
over. Yeah.
That's not how I want to live. So, um, that's what I would say that. And I do like Faye.
Hmm.
I don't think I relate to Faye as much, but I do like her character. I
Yeah.
guess I like how real and honest she is sometimes about love though too, because I could be like that too.
Yeah, I do. I really appreciate Phase because I feel like a lot of them are very not in a bad way, but they're still kind of like idealistic. Like even Wyatt, like he is in a relationship or has a wife, and they're very
He's
much
in
in
a
love.
relationship.
And I love like the way he talks about his wife, or like even the time where he's like in one of the episodes, he's trying to convince this girl to continue to get married with her fiance. He's like
Hmm.
the little things like having that conversation about what you should have said to somebody in the break room and things like that. Like I love how wonderful he sees like marriage and having another person in his life. But I also love the kind of like I don't want to say bitterness, but kind of like realism that Faye brings to
Uh,
the table too, where she's just like, I've been through
pessimism.
it, it didn't work out, I got a divorce. Like these are the things that she's bringing to the table too, and I think she brings a healthy balance to the
Hmm.
crew because she has like a different perspective than the rest of the crew has.
Yeah.
So yeah, while I'm in the same boat where like I don't necessarily directly relate to her, I think because I probably have not been in the situation that she's been in yet. I appreciate the perspective that she brings to the group.
Hmm. Yeah, I can appreciate because I feel like we've all been through big breakups
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
where we've been like that. We're like, sure, yeah, you're
Enjoy
ready to be
your
like,
love.
yeah,
Yeah.
enjoy it while it
Yeah.
lasts. So I can appreciate that. But yeah, and she did help Noah and his dad. So,
She did when
uh,
she had to lock them in that room together.
hmm so I love that about her, and also I love the fact that when she gets nervous or she's lying, she starts to sweat a lot, and she's like, "I'm not sweating, you
I
are."
think that she was like sweating a
Yeah,
lot
she
though. I'm
was
like, what's wrong
drenched
with
in
you?
sweat.
Yeah. You're
'Cause-
sweating a lot.
yeah, she's like, "Oh, I'm sweating." So I love that about her. But yeah, so I feel like it's really hard to rate them, but I guess
Yeah.
they're all on the same bed, like Nicole, Noah, Anthony, Sherm, Wyatt, Faye.
Okay, that's fair. I think for me it would go Sherm, Noah, Nicole, Wyatt, Anthony, Faye. Um, only because like I like I said, I adore Sherm's like wittiness and his like ability to be super chill but also super intelligent. Like he has so much knowledge to bring to the table without really feeling like that's what he's doing. Like he's just like, oh no, I know about this. Or like even like crypto when he got into that. Like there were so many things that he like knew about, like that he knows about. So I really like his character. Noah, I love that, like you said, he's finding himself. He's a lover of love. I'm not a big rom com person, but I'm a romantic. I do like the ideal of like a true love and like someone that just makes your heart
Of
swoon.
course,
Um, like who
Otome.
doesn't, right? Yes, yeah. That's why I play so many
Right?
Otome
That's why we
games.
play
Exactly.
Otome games and
Right.
dating sims.
Yes, exactly. That's why I'm playing Rune Factory right now. Like as
That's
much
why
as
we
I
love
say
Harvest Moon.
yes, exactly. Like as much as I don't like romantic anime or rom coms, I do love the ideal of like finding that love that just like adores you unconditionally. So,
Yeah, after you
um,
give them 75 apples.
exactly, yeah, and a blue feather, and they fall in
They
love with you. so,
live in your
so
house and stare at a chair. Go back
yeah,
to our first
right,
episode
nothing.
if you want to know what we're talking about.
Yes, yeah. Please rewind to our first or like second episode. But yeah, so I love Noah and that ideal of romance. I do adore, like I said, Wyatt and his relationship and kind of like how he views love. Um, Anthony, I don't relate to Anthony as much. Like I am very much not a workaholic. Lana, like once the clock hits 5, do not ask me, do not speak of me, do not speak my name into existence. I do not exist. I only
Uh,
work when I want to work, and I only work on things that I like after 5. Like
yeah.
not that I don't enjoy my job, but like truly like
Yeah.
my craft and my
Hmm.
love is what I dedicate myself to. So I don't feel like I relate to Anthony as much because I know how to step away from things.
Yeah.
But
Mm,
and I think Anthony really struggles with that. But I do appreciate
yeah.
his
That's why
character
I relate.
again. Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's me. I'm like, I got 5 jobs.
Yes, I got 9 to 5 jobs, and I'm over here like, Lana, you doing too much. Relax.
I'm like, it's fine. I'm working right now. Working
Everything's
as we
fine.
do
I'm
this
just still
podcast.
working. I'm working and podcasting. Yeah, and I'm very much not that
Double
person.
time.
So yeah, I don't relate to Anthony as much, but I again appreciate the perspective that he brings. I think he brings a lot to like other characters, like Nicole and even Faye when Faye's like trying to get him to get out of his comfort zone and just like do things off the like you don't have to have a plan for everything and stuff like that. So like I appreciate what Anthony brings to the table.
Yeah.
Um, and
I'm definitely
then
a planner.
yes, and I'm not. I'm a vague outliner. Like I like to have an idea of like these are the things I need to get
Yeah.
done, but I don't need to have a like
Hmm.
plan.
I
And
like a
then
plan, but I don't have to follow it like Anthony does.
yeah,
I
okay,
do
that's
like
fair.
to have one though.
You like to have one, and if it deviates, you're okay.
Yeah, I'm like, ah,
Okay,
okay. As long
yeah.
as we don't die.
I'm the opposite. If someone gives me a plan, I'm like, we not hanging out. Like, why are you giving me a step by step? Get out of
That's why I
here.
never give you plans. I secretly have them in my
Yes,
head.
you
And
just have them in your head, and if we
I
happen to make
suggest them.
it
I'm like,
work,
oh, Mari, maybe we should go this way.
yeah, and meanwhile, I'm like, we'll see what happens as we're walking that way. And if I get distracted, then that's what happens. Um, like I said, I love Nikki and her, like, she just like kind of does what she wants. And she's kind of, I think she's honestly like the for real goofiest one in the group.
Hmm.
And she's just a fun, weird character, and I adore
Yeah,
her so much. But I also adore
she's
that like
amazing.
she's amazing, and she's like super intelligent too. Like her and Sherm kind of give me the same vibe, where like they're goofy but secretly like really have their shit together.
Hmm.
So I love her too. And then like
Yeah,
I mentioned earlier, Faye brings like a perspective that isn't seen by the other characters. So like you said, I honestly really like all of the characters in the show.
yeah. I adore them, and I'm glad that because, like we said, we didn't expect this show. Not that we expected it to be bad, but we didn't know what to expect. That's
Yeah.
what it was. And so when it came out and we started watching the episodes, 'cause I remember you watched it first and you were like, "It's good," and I was like, "Okay, I'll just throw it on." And I remember I watched it and I was like, "This is hilarious! Like, this
Yeah.
is so good." Um, so yes, I definitely agree with all the characters being like super relatable and just loving all of them. Even though, but also, can we point out like, yo, Garrett Morris is the narrator.
Hmm.
Let's
Yes.
just shout out, give Garrett Morris his flowers while he's still here, because I almost forgot he was alive still. But Garrett Morris, legendary actor. If you haven't seen
Yes.
Jamie Foxx show, give me
First of
your
all, get
black
your life
card.
together. I was like, get your life together. Like, what are you doing?
Give me your black cards back. No, I'm just kidding. But Garrett Morris is on there.
Hmm.
Um, so do you want to talk about some of the issues, like favorite episodes, but issues that
Yes.
Grand Crew
Kind
covers?
of like tackles. Yeah.
Yeah.
I, like you said, first of all, Garrett Morris, yes, deserves his
Mm.
flowers. He
Give
is
them to
not
him.
only a
Come on.
great narrator, but has been a great just human being
Right?
in Black culture, especially among media. So, like, he definitely deserves his flowers.
Yeah.
Um,
Him and Morgan Freeman.
yes. And Morgan Freeman, yes. My favorite episode, though, that's it's kind of hard because I really enjoyed all of these episodes. I honestly, this episode isn't really one that like tackled a specific issue. I guess I had to do with Noah, but the winery episode, I really liked that one, and I think partially because it like showcased like a black owned winery.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I also liked the whole thing with Noah kind of coming to terms with who he was. Like he tries to kind of like deviate from being the guy who falls in love and there's like a girl who clearly is like hitting on him. He's like, okay, gotta go stump some grapes with my friend now. And like
It's
is
the
trying
best
to
line. Somebody comes to me, I'm like, I'm sorry, I gotta go stump some grapes.
gotta go stump some grapes. See you later. Yeah. But like I don't know why that episode made me laugh so much. And like the part where they're like doing the like guess what about their partner thing where Sherm's like hosting and they're like whose partner likes this that and that they're like I don't know, that whole episode was just really fun. And I appreciated the whole thing with Noah going through like, oh, okay, I just need to like this is part of who I am kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that I think was honestly my favorite episode, even though all the episodes are good and I think all of them have great points. For some reason that one just like really I really like that episode.
Yeah, I liked that episode. I thought that was a really interesting episode because, like you said, Noah was trying to change who he was, but also Anthony was kind of going through his own thing, and
Oh
then
yeah,
Faye and then Nicole when they did the, like you said, when they did the
the game.
game competition against Wyatt and his wife. So,
Yeah, it's kind
um,
of like when Faye kind of comes to terms with the fact she has a crush on, Anthony, and it's like a whole, yeah,
yeah. Spoilers ahead.
yeah,
Backwards. Spoilers backwards. If you didn't know,
yes. Spoilers backwards,
it's a new term. I've coined
spoilers
it.
behind.
Spoilers back that way.
Yes.
Um, but I think my favorite episode was. That's tough. I really liked the
You asked it.
episode where they were getting Noah to go to therapy.
Oh
We
yeah,
kept
yeah.
choking.
Oh yeah. He would throw up or something.
Yeah, he would choke every time he was at like on a date, and so he went to therapy. But I also really liked the episode where Sherm wouldn't cry, and then he caught he caught Anthony crying about
Oh
Paddington, and
yeah,
then Wyatt in
Paddington.
the
There's something
bathroom
about
naked.
that bear.
He's like, "Why were you naked?" He's like, "Because of all my tears
Right.
soaked my
And he was like
shirt."
more concerned about the fact that he was crying than like he ran into the bathroom with the naked. He's like, "Why are you
Yeah,
crying?"
yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was like a really good episode because the thing that black men are supposed to be tough. They're not
Hmm.
supposed to cry,
Yeah.
you're a man, blah blah blah. That I like that they covered that and like told him like let
Yeah.
him know it was okay for him to cry and like but he explained why, after they were trying to
Yeah,
force him to
that's
cry.
what I really liked about that episode is that he did like there was a point where he was kind of like, "This is we were, kind of taught not to cry, and like that's not becoming of a man," and that kind of like you never saw that emotion coming out of a
Hmm.
man, so like you learn what you learn not to cry. So I did appreciate that they talked about it at the end.
Yeah, so I think that was one of my favorite episodes, and then
Yeah.
the therapy one because black men and mental health, black people and mental health in general,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
black men,
And
about
mental health. Yeah.
going to therapy and stuff like that and promoting that, I think is
Hmm.
always a good thing. So those are
Yes.
probably like two of my favorite episodes.
Yeah. I
I would
definitely agree with both of those. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say one that made me laugh the most was when Noah and Sherm got invested in Bitcoin, like not
Oh yeah.
Bitcoin, cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
And they're
and then
like,
they
"Yeah,
told us.
drinks on me." And it would go down, they'd be like, "Can we have all this back?" And it was just like ups and downs of like cryptocurrency, and it was
Yes.
really hilarious.
I think my favorite part of that episode was when he was or Nicole was trying to help Anthony get a raise on his job. She's like, "Now freeze him out, ice him out."
Yeah.
Okay, like she now take the paper and rip it up. Like there was
I
just
wanna
so
do
much
that
going on.
so bad.
I do too.
Like,
I was like, "Do we still slide papers across to one another?" But
I
okay,
swear, I'm gonna try it.
yeah. I mean, that was one of my recent raises I was giving. They couldn't type it out, so they wrote on a piece of paper and showed it to me on the Zoom screen, and I was like, "Really? We still doing it? Is this what we're doing?" I was like, "Can I reach virtually and rip it up like
You shoulda
Anthony?"
wrote it
And like,
down on a piece of paper, held it up,
and
and then
ripped it.
ripped it, and then muted yourself and turn your camera off.
And like I'm ice in the Slack. I'm icing you out, by the way.
Just send ice
Yes.
cube
Just a little
emojis.
freezing emoji.
Yeah.
I will say because you mentioned the episode with the dad, and that was also one of my favorite
Mhm.
episodes because
Yeah.
I feel like we have been very similar with my family. Sometimes where we're a super close family, as you know, but sometimes we know every single thing that our parents like to make them happy. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I'll send
Mhm.
my mom bath bombs. My dad likes steak and
Yeah.
this, and like my dad likes Lupin the Third, so I'll send him Lupin the Third DVDs. But I won't.
Yeah.
But like sometimes we neglect the part where it's just like let's just sit and talk because we're so busy trying to appease and like make
Mhm.
them happy that way. And so that episode really was like a good one to watch because we very much like as adults have recently gotten to the point where it's like, no, we're gonna all sit down and talk. Like, Dad, if you don't feel good, sit down, get on the
Mhm.
phone. We're gonna talk about it. Mom, if you feel in a
Yeah.
certain way, we're gonna talk about it. But like before, it was very much like how Noah dealt with his dad. Where he was like, my dad likes key lime pie. I made him
Yeah.
key lime pie. He doesn't want it. What's wrong with him? Like that
Oh
was very
god,
much
key
how we
lime
were.
pie.
Uh,
Ooh.
I mean, key lime pie is fine, but don't give me key lime pie when I'm upset.
No,
No.
blueberry.
Ooh, I will take
S-
a good
or strawberry.
boysenberry. I'll take a boysenberry. I like a boysenberry pie.
Strawberry. Try strawberry pie. Delicious. It's like a
Yes.
giant Pop Tart.
I'd be
Um,
like, but yeah, but no, I love that episode. And I did like that Faye kind of like locked them in the closet. It was like, you're not coming out till you talk. And I did like that while it was talking, it kind of focused on, of course, Noah talking to his dad. Once they were done, they kind of did the same thing with Nicole, like, you need to have a conversation with dad too. So so
I
I
will
really like that
say
one.
my favorite part of the episode was when the dude came in and was like, "I want pie." My friend told me there's pie here, and he's like, "No, we don't sell pies." And he's like, "That's the thing about pie. You gotta love it while it's here. Before you know it, it's gone." Or he said something like that.
Yeah.
It was like the funniest but best quote.
Yes, you
Um,
gotta love firewalls here. Yeah.
yeah. So
I also love that they're
I
like our names, like what was it, like donut and friend or something? It's like
yeah,
no, our name is
copy and
coffee,
facts, coffee and
coffee and facts.
coffee
That's
and
what
facts.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that is a darn good name. Is this
Yeah,
copyrighted?
it wasn't a bad name at all. No, it was just when he was like, "We don't sell pie, we're coffee and facts." They're like, "No,
Yeah,
sell pie."
don't sell donuts either.
Right?
Coffee and donuts? No,
No,
coffee and
coffee
facts.
and facts.
Um, no, so I did like that episode. I just want to go back to you saying you send your dad Lupin the Third DVDs. Like, do you send him like the series over and over
There are
again?
so many Lupin the Third series and spin-offs and movies. Like I have legit not run out of Lupin the Third things to send my
Okay.
dad. Like I sent him the original OVAs, and then like this last year for Kwanzaa, I got him like the Lupin the Third like original series, like not the OVA, but like the actual original series. And then like a couple of months ago, because he was just like he had just retired. It was like I don't know what to do, and I was like, "Well, Lupin has another another set of DVDs I can send you."
I
So yes,
swear.
I just keep sending him Lupin the
Oh
Third related
gosh.
things.
If I ever meet your dad, I'm gonna just hand him something with Lupin the Third on it. Here you
He's
go,
gonna
sir.
he's gonna start going Lupin, Lupin, Lupin. Like he no
There
like
you go.
every time I hand him something, he just starts singing. He doesn't say thank you. He just starts singing the theme song, and I'm like, he's pleased.
I'm like, Mari said you like Lupin the Third, so I thought
Here
I'd
you
make a good
go.
first impression.
He's like, I like your friend Lana. She gave me Lupin the Third.
Oh my gosh. No, but okay, back on track. I just had to clear
Yes,
that up. Sorry.
I did just kind
Uh,
of say that. I keep
he's like,
going.
yes, so I get my dad Lupin the Third DVDs. You know what, Mari? When I'm feeling down, just send me Psyche or Cautious Hero
Psyche
DVD.
related things.
Send me Coffee Jelly, even though I hate it.
But,
But
but Psyche.
like Psyche, I'm like, yeah, you're right.
You're like, never mind. Yeah.
But no, yeah, I did love the dad episode. Um, so that was another one. Yeah, the cryptocurrency. What was the other episode that they had that I really liked? Oh, when they broke the washer and dryer, the washer,
Oh
and
yeah.
they all stayed over Wyatt's and his wife house, and they were having the competition on who was better at like being a
They're
better
like, this
host.
food is all nasty.
So that one was pretty funny. But yeah, no, definitely the one when they were doing the wages and he's like icing
Yeah.
her out. So,
I love
but
the
you know
wages one.
what?
I also appreciated like because during that episode with the washing machine was like when they were when who was that? I think Noah or Sherm. One of them was the woman who
The
like kept
judge,
wearing the judge
it was
outfit
Sherm.
everywhere. Yeah, Sherm. Yeah, she wore her like judge robe everywhere. She was like, I worked hard for this. I'm gonna wear this everywhere. They're like, okay,
You're right. I
yeah,
would
all right.
too.
And she was like, y'all are weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Noah's hair was like pressed
yeah.
and
He
he
had
was
this
like,
like perm Cat
yeah.
Williams hair going.
You know what episode I did really like was the one about the news happening with like around the country with Black Lives Matter, and they were all doing different stuff to cope with it. And Sherm was like, "Oh, I'm fine. I just don't read it." And then Wyatt was like, "No, you have to." And then they went to the gym, and worked out. And then Nikki was helping take care of Noah the whole time. And I forgot what Anthony was doing during that episode,
Yeah,
but
what was Anthony doing? Yeah. What were you
he's
doing,
definitely
Anthony?
there. But
Yeah.
yeah, they all were doing stuff to, cope with um the news. Cause sometimes I feel like that's what happens with me too, that sometimes there's so much news about another black person being shot or another black person being killed by the police that
Hmm.
it's overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, and it's one of those things where like sometimes your job, like I think it was actually Anthony where he was like his job is being so too supportive, but they were like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And like
Oh
all of the
yeah.
white people came in and they were like, "We
Yeah.
got you something." Like it's one of those things where it's like the best thing you can do for me is just like shut up, let me put my head down and work and be done. Like the
Yeah.
last thing I need is for y'all to come over and keep asking me if I'm okay when I'm
Yeah.
already dealing with something. Yeah.
That definitely happened to me. That happened to me one time. I remember I was in an interview for a job, and something had just happened with like another black person being killed and another
Hmm.
police being let go or something.
Yeah.
Or not being taken off payroll or being
Right.
suspended with pay. And the interviewer, I was like, he's like, "How are you?" I was like, "I'm good, I'm just blah blah." I'm
He
like,
said, "So
because
are
I'm like,
you?"
this is an interview, a job
Yeah.
interview. And he said, "Are you fine though?"
Oh, well, okay.
He was like, "Are you? Are you sure you're fine?" And I was like, yeah." He's like, "'Cause I'm not fine after today." And I was like, uh, yeah. And then he
Like,
proceeded to talk to me about it. It was a very weird interview. I mean, and I
yeah.
appreciate the concern, but I was like, I'm in this interview. I'm here to get a job.
Right. It's like it's one of those things where it's like I can understand what you're trying to do, but sometimes it's better to just continue as things were like if I say I'm fine, please do not continue it like let me tell you why I'm not fine. Like can we just
I'm
continue the conversation?
discouraged, but
Yes.
I'm more outraged than you, black person.
Yes.
Um,
Let me tell
and
you why I'm outraged. Yeah.
it didn't, and also it didn't feel very genuine when he was saying it.
Right,
Like
right.
I didn't know if he was saying it because I was just a black person and he wanted to say that to me. Like, are you
Hmm.
having these same conversations with white people
Right.
about why you're not fine with it?
Right.
So, I could relate a lot to that like headlines episode because it was like we all process it, and I think the way they all process it was me and you at different times. Like we
Oh,
all process the
absolutely.
news just the same way all of them do. Like they all had different ways to do it. Like Sherm didn't want to talk about it.
Hmm.
Anthony just wanted to work through it.
Yeah.
Um, N- Noah needed like Nikki to take care of him, and Nikki dealt with it by taking care of other people. And
Right.
then Wyatt, I think, liked to hear about it and process it and go to the gym. So
Yeah.
I think that we were all of those people at one point. So I love that that's what it
Right.
was. Like,
I also love that they depicted, like you said, people processing things
yeah.
different ways. Like I feel like there's this misconception almost that everyone likes to process that type of news the same way, which is, why your person in the interview decided to talk to you about that, even though it was an interview, or like why so many times, like during certain meetings that we have, it'll be like, if you need time to process the fact that another black person was killed, please. And it's like, it's way easier for me to like work through it. Or, hey, maybe I want to process this with like my friends and, do a podcast. but, but I don't want to, talk about it with you specifically. And it's one of those things where like people have to be cognizant of like how to be an ally almost is
Yeah,
read the
and
room, right? If I'm not reciprocating whatever you're giving me, stop doing it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's kind of tough. I feel it because
Hmm.
also when people of other um races go through similar things
Hmm.
like the Asian hate crimes and all that stuff that I also am like I'm not like people at work, but I'm like if I talk to like I reach out to my friends and I'm like, "Hey, how are you?" And they're like, "It's a lot." And I'm like, "Well, I'm here for you if you want to talk about it or whatever." And I leave it at that.
Right.
I don't keep
Which I
pressing them to
think
be
is
like,
a good,
"But do
yeah.
you want to talk about it?" You
Like,
know?
well, let me tell you how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why I think this is injustice and how I can relate to it. And it's like while I can relate in a
Right.
sense, let people have their moment. It's like if I came to your birthday and was like, "Are you having a happy birthday?" And you're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Let me tell you why I'm happy today."
Right. Let me tell you about why your birthday is making me happy. Right. It's like let people have their
Except it's
moment
sad,
and
not
like
happy.
show that you're there for support, but you don't have to like yeah, I do the same thing. Like when things are going on, it's just like, hey, I got you if you need me. Like that's
Yeah.
that's the end. Like let them go through it. Let them reach out whatever way they feel best to reach out. If they
Yeah,
want to
no.
vent, you can vent. If you want to talk
Mhm.
about it, we can talk about it. But like give them that space to choose how
Yeah.
they want to communicate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'll definitely stand with you for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
So I love that Grand Crew was covering that each person does that differently and they all
Hmm.
deal with things that we deal with when that is happening. Like
Right.
people being overly concerned or
Yeah.
some of our friends not wanting to talk about it and not wanting to have to deal with it or
Yeah.
us having to take care of friends who are dealing with it pretty
Right, who
heavily.
are dealing with it differently. Yeah, and I mean, like you said, we've all been that person. Like I've both been the person dealing with it heavily, and the
Mhm.
person who didn't want to talk about it. So like we all
Yeah.
deal with that differently.
I'm like, let me just play Fire Emblem.
Right. I'm just gonna play Fire Emblem and not answer any of my text messages for the
Just
day.
eat a bunch
So
of
like,
pizza.
right.
So I deal with it
Yeah.
sometimes, you know. So
Right.
I appreciate that episode. And I think it was an important episode to be made and to be
Hmm.
had for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I think in general the show was a great thing to be had, and it was kind of a sleeper hit. Like and not to say that Abbott. I think we should definitely do an episode on Abbott because I think it's absolutely
Yeah,
amazing
Abbott's
too.
hilarious.
Abbott is hilarious, but I feel like because they came out at the same time, Abbott overshadowed it a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, not to say Abbott did not
Quinta.
deserve all of its
Yeah.
glory. Like Quinta, yes, a big ups to Quinta. Abbott deserves all of its glory, but I think just by the nature of having these two shows kind of coming out around the same time, Grand
Mm.
Crew didn't get quite the um quite the same light that I think it should have gotten. So
Yeah.
I definitely think it should have gotten more attention than it did. I really hope it does still get a second season. And I heard it still did very well. Like that's not to say it didn't do well.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't get like quite the same amount of hype that Abbott did.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it and I can't wait to see more of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
It deserves the same hype as Abbott.
Yeah.
But maybe we can do like a Juneteenth episode where we talk about black shows you should be watching.
Yes.
If you haven't, you should go back and binge watch them.
Right.
And that can be on there along with Grand Crew and
Yeah, Wonder
Bel
Years is
Air.
another one. If you've never watched Wonder Years, I
Oh
highly
yeah, Don
recommend it.
Cheadle's in it, right?
Yes, yeah, Don Cheadle is in it. Why am I forgetting his name? Whatchamacallit from Psych.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, the eyes.
yes. Oh my god, I'm gonna forget. Why am I forgetting his name? But whatever. He's in it as well. He's the dad. He's great. Yeah, Don Cheadle does all the narrating, and it is such a hilarious show, and it's one that's like written back in the day, but there's so much of it that still pertains to what we deal with on a daily basis. And again, it's another show that doesn't necessarily deal with like racism all the time, even though it is kind of a more back in the day show, which I really appreciate. But yeah, I feel like there's so many black shows that kind of came out this season that not all of them are not getting their flowers. So plenty to talk about, but I feel like Ren Crew was one of those where it's like we need to talk about this. This is an amazing show.
Yeah, it was. It's definitely something I would say is not even like a long watch. It's only like what
Yeah, I
episodes.
think 10. Yeah.
And the episodes are around 27 minutes.
Right. It's very
Mhm.
bingeable. Yeah.
It's a light watch you can watch while you're folding clothes like me or washing dishes, doing adult things when you're adulting.
Yes. Or if you're not
Yeah,
adulting, you
adulting,
can
and you want a
watch it.
glass of wine.
Yes. I was going to say while you're playing Rune Factory or
See,
don't
I
do
don't
it while you're playing
know.
like Elden Ring though. Elden Ring though.
I was gonna say I don't know how you play video games and watch TV. I've only done that once, and let me tell you, let me tell you what game I was playing and what show I was watching. It'll make perfect sense. I was watching Attack on Titan and playing Attack on Titan, so I could catch up to
See
season
that
4.
don't make sense to me because Attack on Titan has so much going on. Like I feel like
I was
Grand
trying to
Crew,
catch up to season 4. I was
you
getting
know,
all the Attack on Titan I could, and I
just
was reading the
absorb.
manga.
That's why you got burnt out. You over there playing Attack on Titan, reading Attack on Titan, watching Attack on Titan. Like you were probably having dreams, like you said, you had dreams about Attack on Titan. Like no wonder you got
Yeah,
burnt out.
I still think there's gonna be a Titan outside my window looking at me.
Just looking
So
through the window.
it's like
Uh,
she watching Grand Crew.
right. He Titans over there like Grandcrew, Grandcrew.
It's intrigued. It's not even trying to eat me. It's like this
Right.
is a
It's just
good
kind of like this
human
is a good
show.
episode. Yes. Yeah. I had
Yeah,
those feelings too when I was human. when I was a
not to
for real human.
not to black, but
But you know, I felt it. I don't understand why those people's skin's that color, but other than that.
it's been dirt. No,
Right.
it's
Stop. Oh, but
definitely
yeah.
what Titans are thinking. Um, no, but yeah, and the episode I was gonna say Wyatt's brother coming to visit was also pretty funny,
Oh
but
yeah. Oh
good.
my goodness, I forgot about that episode.
Yeah, it was a dude from Superstore.
Yeah, yeah. That was a good episode. His like brother not knowing how to show affection other than to bully him.
I definitely got some family members like that, and I'm like, bros, you don't have to say mean things to me.
Right. You could
Show
just
you
tell
you love
me.
me.
Right. It's like
They
the
roast
people
you.
who never got out of their 13-year-old phase. So
Yeah,
it's like you
they just
realize you
roast
could just
people.
say you love me. Like that's fine.
I just
Right.
definitely got a cousin like that who roasts everybody as soon as he sees them. That's how he
Yeah.
tells us he loves us. It's
That's
like, look at you wearing them shoes. Coming up in here looking
Wearing them
all
shoes.
Hollywood.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
Like,
No, I have a cousin who. Oh, okay. Look at you, Johnny College. All right. I'm like,
Johnny,
okay, okay.
I love it. Johnny
Good
College.
old Johnny College. I was like, I don't know who Johnny is, what college he went
He
to,
went
but
to
okay.
college.
But
I
he
thought
went to
Johnny
college.
didn't go to school no more. That's what Kendrick
That's what
Lamar
Kendrick
said.
said.
Johnny
Well,
don't go to
well,
school
yeah,
no more,
Johnny
no
don't want to
more.
go to school no more. Yeah, well, I don't
Woo!
know. Maybe must be different Johnnies. I don't know.
If you don't know now, you've been listening. We connect a lot of things together. It's pretty
To
random,
random
but it
things,
it makes sense.
but
Look
they
it
all
up.
come together in the metaverse. So
Yeah, only in the metaverse,
only in
which
the
is where we
metaverse.
live.
Yes, which
We
apparently you
live
can
right
live
next
for
to Snoop
like,
Dogg.
yeah, and you can live for like what 150 more years if you give your body to the metaverse. So hey, I read that in
Yeah,
Science Blog Daily or something today.
like Altered Carbon, probably.
Yeah, I was thinking like that. There's an Amazon show. I think
Oh,
Upload was what it was
Upload.
called. Yeah, yeah. I was
I
thinking more
did
like
watch
that, but
Upload.
yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking also of an anime. Isn't there an anime where that happens? I think I'm thinking of
Probably.
Sword Art Online. Stop.
Sort of.
Or
Well,
every isekai where they accidentally got locked into their game they
you're
were
right.
playing that was getting ready
A
to shut
dot
down at the
hack.
last minute.
Yeah.
With Overlord and
Right.
what's that other one about the dude who's the god or something? Accidentally
Mm.
summon how not to summon a
Oh
demon
yeah, not how to.
lord
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
every other
Basically,
show I've watched.
if it's a game about getting sucked into a video game, that is
Land
the
of
metaverse.
Ledley.
Yeah.
And then Facebook's probably pay us Facebook. We just gave you the idea, but they're probably coming out with their own anime about the metaverse. Except it's going to be 3D, and then everybody's going to hate it.
Yes. And then when we watch it, we do get sucked into the metaverse. So be careful about that, guys.
And thank you, Mark Zuckerberg. Pay us. We'll take it in Bitcoin,
Right. We'll take it.
cryptocurrency, NFTs,
Preferably Bitcoin because that's worth a lot. So
meta coins,
meta coins.
whatever the currency is there. We
Yeah.
want to be a part of it.
Yes.
And yeah, go watch Grandcrew.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In conclusion, go watch Grandcrew. Yeah, but yeah, to end this, yes, go watch Grandcrew. It's definitely worth it. There are also like a ton of other, like we said, black shows that you should be watching. And we will, of course, talk about those because I think Lana and I have both been like furiously watching every single black show that has shown up this season. So we'll definitely have more to talk about. But in the meantime, go watch Grandcrew. It's an NBC show, so you can watch it like almost everywhere. So just go watch it. There we go.
You watch it on Hulu.
Yeah, it's on
Peacock.
Hulu. It's on Peacock. It's on TV. If you're still over there
You're on
on
cable.
cable, you got that too. It's on, TV. But yes, definitely worth the watch.
I'm with it. And
Yes.
join our Grandcrew. Well, maybe not, but form your
Yeah,
own.
I was like, don't do that. I don't know you, but
We don't know you.
no. But you should definitely, after you watch Grandcrew, get the motivation to join your own Grandcrew because, like Lana has mentioned, I think we found like a good crew of people, and there's nothing quite like having a group of people who, I mean, it's a safe space. Most of us are black, and I do feel like there is a lot of merit in having a safe space where you can kind of just completely be yourself, without having to like explain or apologize or go through the notions of like, do I need to code switch? Are there certain things that like you're just not going to get? So I think there is some merit in having your own Grandcrew.